Coming up on the official Celtic FC Podcast, Scottish singer-songwriter PG Ciarletta speaks about his exciting career so far, and he performs live in the Celtic Park studio.
Like the mastermate, they're running to the ground. I hope one day our freedom will be found.
Hello and welcome to the official Celtic FC Podcast. I'm Matthew Campbell, and today I'm delighted to be joined by PG Ciarletta. PG, people are going to know you and remember you from last year at the European Championships, where you sort of had a meteoric rise into the spotlight, playing for the Tartan Army, playing supporting Scotland at the Euros. But away from that, you're a singer-songwriter. Your star's very much on the rise. You're going to actually do a couple of songs for us here today in the studio as well. But first of all, thanks very much for coming in.
No worries, it's an absolute pleasure to be here.
As we were coming up to the studio, you were telling us you're a big Celtic supporter, and it's always wonderful, obviously, to come in here. The sun's shining as well. It's a wonderful place, obviously, to be.
Yeah, no, 100%. You know, for me, it's a bit of a sort of honour and a privilege to be here, and very grateful because I know there's many people in the world that would love an opportunity like this to come in and talk to you guys, and obviously 8-year-old me would prefer to come here and sign as a football player. But we're obviously going to the boardroom later, so
yeah, absolutely.
You never know. But here as a musician, that's the journey that life takes you on. But it's a wee bit surreal coming here, seeing the stadium and the area around the place, and it's one of the great clubs and stadiums of world football, and we're all very proud to be part of it. Absolutely.
You're speaking about that sort of the journey, your musical journey as well, the fact that it's brought you obviously here, you're speaking to us. But we're talking about the last year, because from the outside looking in, it looks like the last year for yourself's been a bit of a whirlwind. Would it be right in saying that?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, we mentioned the work I'd done on the international side with the Scotland national team, and hopefully that continues because that's a part of who I am and what I love doing as well. And you know, that was literally one wee TikTok video blowing up from an idea I came up with at a music festival, and it kind of changes what you do for the next sort of 6 months to a year. And yeah, you know, from one TikTok video going viral and then viral again and viral again, and you know, that song going on to national radio, national television, European television, and then the GBX big rave version getting blasted out of Hampden, and then going across to, you know, Germany in the summer. Seeing for the first time, you know, that size of crowds, like being familiarised with a song idea that I've done, and having great sort of gigs in Munich and Cologne, and then, you know, the massive fan zone in Cologne, which was one of the highlights for me as well. That was just tens of thousands of Scottish people, and there was some Germans in there as well, and Swiss on that day, having a great time. So that was probably the first. I always kind of joke because it was the first time I seen on like a mass scale like what it was like for people to know the music and sing back to you. But it was also the first time when I came back to Glasgow, and obviously Glasgow can be a very unforgiving place. So I'd walked in one street of the city centre and somebody would come up singing the song, and then I'd walk down another street, the city centre, and somebody would come up and say words that I can't repeat. So it's been great from that sort of side. But you know, people and football fans will know me from Glasgow to Berlin, but you know, there's another, you know, there's outside of that, obviously, in terms of what I do, it's like folk, storytelling, singer-songwriter, indie rock music, and I'm sure people will know, you know, the new song Freedom and previous releases like Start a Revolution, Until You Get Home, and Now That You're Here. So I'm just very fortunate to be able to basically make music, release it, and then just travel loads of different places and play music.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned two of the songs there, Freedom, Start a Revolution. You're going to play those for us today, but I'm curious about this, you know, the fact you put the video out on TikTok, it blows up. In many ways, sometimes is that kind of what it takes, you know, you kind of stumble into something and then all of a sudden your name is effectively, you're a household name at that point.
Yeah, like everything can change so fast. Like I always kind of say now, it's weird because I'm kind of traditional in my ways too. Like I always think the problem, like my generation and the Gen Z generation, is that, you know, it's all about kind of blowing up on TikTok and doing stupid dances and that just to get 10 million likes, and people forget about actually playing as well. And no, listen, social media and content's massive. It's your biggest ally. You have to use it, and it's a way of efficiently and effectively getting your music out there. And it did, for me, change something like overnight and led to loads of different opportunities, and that's why it's massive. But there has to be a balance these days as well in terms of actually going out there and playing live too. And for me, I always think the people side of it is the most important, and I can obviously link it to a famous quote by somebody very famous linked to these places, and it was, football without fans is nothing, and to me, music without people is nothing. And I always say the most important thing of all is the people, and that's why I love going out and playing live as well as doing the social media and going to even places that don't get a lot of music as well. Yeah. Because if I don't sacrifice my life and people don't sacrifice something to be part of what I'm doing, then you get absolutely nowhere. So yeah, 100% love using social media. Yeah. Obviously it's ironic that I blew up on social media on the TikTok side of things, but yeah, I love just having a balance of not just neglecting the actual playing side as well, and literally meeting people too. No,
I think you're quite right, and what can be better, even as a music fan, than going and seeing it live and hearing it live. You're quite correct in what you say in terms of that being a massively important part of any musician's journey, I suppose. But for you, where did it start? How did it start? When did you become interested in music and interested in playing guitar?
Yeah, so right from the start, when I started playing guitar, was just like other members of my family. Initially my dad played guitar, but as well from the sort of performative side of things, so my mum's side of the family, that's where the Celtic link comes from, and my gran on that side was from the West Coast and my grandfather was from County Donegal. Right. So there'd be like just numerous family events and parties where people would be performing and playing music and playing different sorts of instruments and dancing and all that as well, before the TikTok days probably. And it just kind of led from there, and then obviously my interest in music grew, and I looked up to other artists and bands coming through. I loved obviously watching like the likes of, I'm trying to think, linked to like Celtic, like Las Vegas, and obviously being Scottish, Italian on my other side as well, looking up to the likes of Pill and Atini, so kind of just inspired by other people, but then also just embracing the sort of the culture and what was in my roots from a sort of Irish background on one side and Italian background on the other side, and it just purely being Scottish as well. So it kind of led from there, and then I just carried myself into the open mics and the boozers and kind of worked myself up from there. And then over like COVID and that period of time, I started to really go back and focus on doing original music. And then I released my first ever song, which is a song called The Sesh, right, which is just about having a good time, obviously. I'll not go into too much detail about that one, but I released that and I never looked back. And yeah, there's, from there, I think the songwriting's really improved, and I've just been, again, lucky enough to go and play my own shows, various different places, Scotland, England, across to Europe, and then, play major music festivals as well down in England and stuff. So, that's how it's kind of started, moved and progressed. And the kind of thing for me in the music side of it is just being myself. Like everything I do is just me being real and genuine and being honest with people. And again, like, people just want you to answer questions and be honest and truthful towards them. And every time I've just been myself within music from the start to now, things have progressed for me, and it's very clear that I'm just doing that when you kind of look at what I'm into and what I get involved in with the football and sport, and this football club and terrace wear clubber, because I look like I've just walked out of that section of the crowd there, and then so all of that together, and then inside my music too, it's very reflective of where I come from and the communities I've come from and who I represent in terms of working class issues and inner city folk tales. So yeah, that's really from now to where I am today, and I'm looking forward to what comes next.
No, it's a really interesting sort of path that you've been on. It's a really interesting journey, and it's great to see you obviously thriving and doing really well. I want to just take you back a wee bit there to something that I always find interesting, certainly, of people from sort of our communities, with the Irish heritage, especially, this kind of almost inevitable attraction to music, and it just seems like something that's inherent in the culture.
Yeah, I'm kind of lucky to have it from both sides. Obviously, Irish music, when you look at the folk and the storytelling side of it, and a lot of the Irish folk songs, they're very, very well written songs. And, Irish is a culture. And same way, like, obviously being Scottish, because we're all kind of Celtic at the end of the day, it's all built on, obviously, partying, having a good time, welcoming people into your community, no matter where they're from, if they're good, you know, human beings. And then, you know, there's a real music and performative edge to it too. Like if you go to, say, Dublin, or if you go to Glasgow, or anywhere that's got an infeed of Irish people, Liverpool's another example, it's just, the whole place is just built on football, music and having a good time. So that's there. And then I think if you mix it with my cultures being Italian, then you've got the dramatic side and the flair and the composure. So when you mix the sort of the Irish side, the Italian side, and you add a wee bit of being, you know, Scottish and, you know, the hard working element too, that really, I would say, creates like something that can go on to be successful. Because if you look at Scottish musicians, how many are off Irish descent and how many are off Italian descent is pretty mad when you actually look at it.
That is quite incredible. You're mentioning there, obviously, growing up and being a Celtic supporter. Let's just chat a wee bit about the Celtic side of things as well, and what better place to be chatting Celtic. When you were growing up, who were the players that you adored? Who were your heroes?
So if I go back through the time, I think the first game I ever went to was, I think it was Celtic 4, Heart of Midlothian 0.
Right.
But I was very young, so I couldn't remember much of that. And then one of my cousins, Big Paul, he'll just be buzzing, he got a shout in this podcast, but he got a season ticket during the Martin O'Neill era, so I used to start going across to those games if they had a spare ticket. And that was a great side. In that team, there's just loads of favourites. Obviously, Henrik Larsson, Petrov, obviously Lenny, Sutton, Hartson, all those great players. And then I think it progressed from there towards probably like Nakamura, and then the more recent history, I think it was Kieran Tierney. And then now, obviously, I love the sort of the Japanese players like Maeda, and then obviously right now a wee sort of cult hero coming through and developing right now is, you know, the South Korean Yang. Yeah. Loving a bit of him. He's like the wee sort of cousin in your family you just love. You know what I mean? So you can see that, and then so there is a sort of whole range of different players for different eras. I even laugh as well because my grand's obviously passed away now, but she was a pure passionate Celtic fan, and she had like weird obsession with certain players. And before my time, it was Paul McStay. Really, and obviously you couldn't say a bad word about him. Even if I had a shocker, she would go mental. And then in my time, it was actually James Forrest. Right, like she had I think she was going a wee bit dull at that point, but she was just like loved James Forrest. Like obviously he's a great player and one of the sort of legendary players at the club with what he's done. But like she used to always say like she loved him because he reminded her of wee Jimmy Johnston. Really? I know it's like massive words because that's like a legendary. That's a massive accolade. I know, as well. A massive and sort of legendary lesbian line player. So like she was like mad into those sort of players as well. But great family memories. But I'm looking forward to Kieran Tierney coming back. He's a real sort of player, and having that real passion and drive in the team, I think he's going to obviously come back and add that as well. It's brilliant, obviously, to hear you talking about coming up as a Celtic supporter. Having read a wee bit about your latest single, Freedom, it certainly looks and sounds like your sort of upbringing has definitely shaped you as a writer and musician. Yeah, 100%. So I would say the likes of Freedom, I can describe it in two ways. I think from a personal perspective, it's about, me and my life in terms of pursuing a life in music and the arts, and it means you do have to leave where you're from and go places that are more set up for what you want to do and just literally travel everywhere playing music. And obviously I love staying in the city of Glasgow, but if I'm here too long I start getting itchy feet because I just want to be out playing. But if I go at a deeper level and talk about all of my music and what I consistently sing about when it's no football songs, it's it's kind of based on what I've seen during the time of my life, and I would say my music really reflects who I am, what my values are, what my messages are. And as a writer, I would say my songs are inner city folk tales and working class issues and real life humble people issues that we all go through, and that's based on me coming from a great working class community. But there's loads of these across Scotland, Ireland and beyond, across the world. And from a musical perspective, what I see going on in these places is they're really getting the venues ripped out of them. The high streets are all shutting down. The nightclubs aren't there anymore where we used to do the dancing and that. And it feels in a lot of these places the heart, the soul and the culture's been really taken away, which is a shame. So from my music I kind of sing about those sort of things that happen in the working class community. But I think as a musician, as a writer, and as bands, etc., our job's not just to moan about things, it's actually to go out and do something. And when I look at the history of music, when music's been done right, it can change and influence everybody's life for the better. And, it's similar to like this football club, when it was formed in Glasgow for, the poor and many other social groups by Brother Wilfred, and it gave people hope, it gave people a sense of belonging, and it changed people's lives forever. Even once we're off the planet as well, it's going to keep changing people's lives. And music's exactly the same, and it's kind of like who you're representing, the communities you're coming from, it's made you. And like in football, when you put on the jersey or you wear the badge, you're representing the people, you're representing the cause. And it's the same with me when I feel musically, if I'm on a stage, if I'm in front of a camera, I'm in front of a microphone, I'm representing where I've come from, the communities I've come from, Scotland, the independent music scene I've come from, and just everybody around the world that shares the same values as me. So it's important not to forget your roots and do that. And I feel it's always important to use music the right way and go out there and change something and change everybody's lives for the better.
I think you're absolutely spot on. It was fantastic words as well, I've got to say. But I think I won't be alone in looking forward to hearing you playing your new single, if you wouldn't mind giving us a rendition of Freedom.
Yeah, 100%, mate.
Brilliant. So this is PG Ciarletta. This new single, when did it come out?
This came out on the 28th of February, so very recent, and it's available to stream on all the usual places, the streaming platforms and Spotify.
Excellent.
All that.
Well, I'll leave you to take it away. This is PG Ciarletta with Freedom.
I got the message, all your friends are sick of me. A faded image of everything I wish I'd be. Portrait of a broken home, where echoes lying from my brain alone. I'm still scarred by the moments of the past, though I can't see through the shattered looking glass. I'll keep searching for a sign, get real far away and live a life, a happy life. I'm gonna pack my bags, leave this town, chase the wind where freedom's found. Let's leave behind the mess that made them run it to the ground. I hope one day our freedom will be found. And now I've left here, I hope that you're missing me. Let's drink to old times when I held you by the East Coast Sea. I only look forward now, can't live in these lifeless hollow grounds. I'm gonna pack my bags, leave this town, chase the wind where freedom's found. Let's leave behind the mess that made them run into the ground. I hope one day our freedom will be found. There's no point in feeling sad, wash your hands of all we have. Let's wipe away the shit that came and flip the dreams around. I hope one day our freedom will be found. All I do is wait for you. All I see is you and me. Pack my bags, leave this town, chase the wind where freedom's found. Let's leave behind the mess that made them run it to the ground. I hope one day our freedom will be found. There's no point in feeling sad, wash your hands of what we have. Let's wipe away the shit that came and flip the dreams around. I hope one day our freedom will be found. I hope one day our freedom will be found.
PG, that was absolutely tremendous. It's a fantastic new single. It must be a brilliant thrill, obviously, as a writer, when you come to the end of the sort of songwriting process. You've written the song, you've written the single, and you must just think to yourself, I've got it here, I've nailed it.
Yeah, it's mad because sometimes obviously you think you've nailed it and then you let people hear it around you and it's just like, nah, it's not the one, mate. Try again. But I think it's just you get a feel sometimes. And I always say, you know, if it sounds great on an acoustic guitar on its own, then you know you're onto something because you can really build around it there. Yeah. So it's actually. I've one writer that I do a lot of my work with. It's a guy called Johnny Madden. Again, he's a big Celtic fan, so I'll be buzzing that he got mentioned on here. And I just think sometimes it's weird. Sometimes you write stuff and something will happen and the hair will stand on the back of your arms or your neck, or you'll get goosebumps. We've seen that a few times, and I think with Freedom it was just you just kind of knew with like the level of the storytelling and the verses, and then how catchy and hooky it was in the choruses, that something was there. And it's always a great buzz to know that you've got something that has potential, but then there's also the balance on the other side is if you start reaching a certain level, you know what I mean, you need to keep exceeding it and keep getting better, because once you kind of hit there, if you don't exceed it, you're just going to start going like that. But no, that's part of it, man. Just jamming and finding something that you know that's got potential is obviously what it's all about. It's a
tremendous single, and as we were coming up here, obviously this morning, you'd sort of said, because we were chatting a wee bit about, you know, the experience at the Euros and stuff like that. But you'd said to me, now it's about using that momentum and driving people towards, you know, your own stuff, the original music. I'm about to fly in the face of that by taking you back to the Euros here and chatting about that. But I mean, on that quite serious sort of subject, given the standard of the single and everything else that you're producing, you know, it's no surprise to see your sort of fan base growing. But take us back to Germany, you know, last year in the Euros. As a nation on the pitch, it wasn't great. But off the pitch, the Scotland fans obviously made such a wonderful impact. You were there, you were part of it, playing music. It must have been absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, 100%. And listen, I always have to remember like the football side of it too, because we're all sort of the product of our own legacy, you know what I mean? You've got to embrace that. But no, it was going, you know, back to my memories last summer. Yeah, it was great. I would say in general, like Scotland fans or Celtic fans, man, like they always travel in their numbers and they're always up for a great time. And it's one of those ones, I think, as a football sort of club or a country or as a musician, you've got to recognise that people have spent a lot of money to come and see you. Yeah. And that's great responsibility. And then when people are in the mindset of, I've spent loads of money to be here, you know, whatever happens, you've got to make the most of it. And that's really what happened, you know, during that summer is, you know, everybody was up for a mad party because it'd been so long since, on the men's side anyway, since there was like an overseas, you know, major competition. So, yeah, everybody travelled in their numbers, had a great time. For me, a lot of great sort of gigs and memories in terms of plenty of like large numbers of people. And then loads of sort of good wee engagements with not just the media in Scotland and England, but also the European partners as well, which was great. So I always look back with fond memories, and you know, it's a moment where people would know my face and the name, and like as we said there, it's kind of transitioning from that and you know, kind of going down the journey of my own original music as well. Yeah, no, but it's a really exciting time. I was also reading something earlier. You played on the roof at Murrayfield, is that right? 100%. Just dropping hints for football match day experiences. Right. I mean, what was it? How did it come about? And what was it like? I mean, I don't know about you. I'm a bit of a bottle job with heights, so I mean, I'd have been quaking. But honestly, like, see, in the lead up to that, I was like, try to sleep at night and you get a cold sweat, being like, what if it's windy? Because you're like a gantry on the roof and you're so close. And that one was mad because like you're on the roof at Murrayfield Stadium, and I'd actually been there to watch Celtic in the Champions League qualifiers. I think when the Commonwealth Games were on there. That's right. An Icelandic team. Yeah. Reykjavik. Aye. And it was actually the stand I was sitting in that day. That's the part of the roof that I was on. So you literally turn round and you've got the west stand view there of Murrayfield, and then you look that way and you're at eye level with the castle. But again, that was came up for more or less TikTok. You know what I mean? I posted, I think it was before Scotland played Ukraine in a World Cup qualifier. Yeah. I was outside Hampden, and obviously you need permission to go in, but there's a wee council lane outside Hampden. So I kind of rocked up to the wee council lane and done Loch Lomond and Flower of Scotland, and I posted the Loch Lomond video. This was months after, I think. It was the day after Scotland played Ireland at Hampden. I posted it, and it just went viral, and it got picked up, people saw it, and then it gave me, I was in with a chance of an opportunity of going to play at Murrayfield, and I was just fortunate I got selected for it. And then it came up and they were just like, we want to try a guitarist and a singer on the roof, would you up for it? I was like, 100%, let's go for it, because I think Liverpool played Napoli there and the Jamie Webster went on the roof,
right.
So we've seen it in a football perspective, but we want to do it in Scottish rugby match day and see what happens. So we done that and we went for it, but it was one of those ones that's just, again, that was really early in my music days, so I'm a lot wiser and I've learned more since then to just appreciate it and stand in the moment. And the difference from Murrayfield to being in the fan zones with thousands of folk in Germany was I was able to just sit back or stand back and stop singing for a couple of seconds and just take it all in.
Yeah.
So I've got that memory forever. But the thing with Murrayfield was very early on, so I done really well and I done my best, but it was just a blur in terms of there was so much adrenaline just going through the body from the pitch and in the roof. And in the roof, you've obviously just got your in-ear so you can hear yourself playing guitar and singing, and you're just hoping that everybody down below is singing. But no, it was a mad experience, and again, it was another thing that kind of led to loads of bits of momentum and other opportunities as well. But yeah, no, I think the next step for me is to get on the pitch singing and either doing the likes of it, the anthem or a club anthem, or match day as well. There's always time, obviously Scottish entertainment right now is so obsessed with putting the piper on the roof, you know what I mean? It's like, get the guitar and the singer back on the roof, come on.
It's an amazing, things like that just always make me laugh. Like when you're starting out as a musician, you could never have thought, I'm going to be on the roof at Murrayfield. It's such a unique experience. But obviously from that sort of incredible opportunity and experience, at the start of this year I think I'm right in saying you've been on tour playing sort of intimate gigs, so away from the roof of a 60-odd thousand seater to a more intimate venue. I mean, how's the tour been going? And for you as a musician, is that sort of more a bit of you in terms of being there and being able to look people in the eye?
Yeah, it's weird because being in the stadiums and playing to a large number of people, or being on the pitch or the roof, you're far away from everybody, so it's weird, you kind of get programmed in because it's like match day and there's a running order and you're kind of well drilled in terms of what's going to happen, so you're kind of just fully engaged in the zone. But when you play these sort of intimate shows to lower volumes of people, it's more you do feel more nervous because you can see everybody, you can see everybody's eyes and how they're reacting to things, and I've always been lucky that everybody by the end of the night's just jumping a bit going crazy. But no, those shows have been going really well, and again, it's coming back to me being a singer-songwriter. One of the advantages are, I can go and play sort of my main tours when I'll go and play in a band setup, but I can also strip it right down and just me going out in the acoustic guitar and having a good night. So yeah, we done the initial run, which was great, going to a lot of places for the first time. There'll be another run that I'm doing that'll start, I believe, in May time, which we're just looking at the final locations and dates, and then head out to festival season and then do my main tour at the tail end of the year. So no, it's all been going great, and you've just got to be able to do a variety of different shows. One day you can be on top of the stadium, the other day you can be doing a smaller show to 50 to 100 people. You've just got to be able to do loads. But from the intimate tour side of things, I always just use it as an advantage it's a chance to show off the quality of the songwriting and show and tell people what the songs are about, and then tell them what the messages are about, what the values are about, and then it's a chance to really connect with people at a deep level and get more and more people involved, because I'm going to a lot of places for the first time and playing. Like you'll kind of see in music and that a lot of people just play Glasgow and then Edinburgh, and then they might go up to Aberdeen, Dundee, but it's important for me to get into all these other places and play all the places that don't get much music, and kind of try and do it like back in the day where bands and artists used to just travel absolutely everywhere playing gigs all the time, which is obviously very difficult with the times we're in, but I think it's the best part of it.
I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier about you personally being a bit old school in terms of how you want to do things, so travelling about the country must be great. You're talking about festival season. What festivals have you got lined up? What you doing this summer?
So I think from what's been announced, Scottish ones, there's one called Heartland, which is in Pitlochry, Bute Fest, which is out in the Isle of Bute, and then also I've got a couple of festivals down south that haven't been announced yet that will be known soon. A couple of really, really good ones that I'm looking forward to, another major one down there, and then I've got one called By the Sea in Bridlington, which is down, I think it's between Middlesbrough and kind of Sunderland on that side of the country. Obviously, geography wasn't my strong
get somebody else to drive.
Get somebody else, or I'll get lost, man. I went to Newcastle, but it's down there, and that's where a group called This Feeling they're great as well across Scotland and England and beyond in terms of developing grassroots music and bringing people through. So yeah, I've just got a sort of range of festivals across Scotland and in England this summer, and more are getting added as we go through the next couple of weeks.
Brilliant, it's dead exciting. I mean, we're coming towards the end here. You're going to play us out with Start a Revolution. Before we get to that, I've got to ask you, what for you is the sort of big ambition over the next couple of years? What do you want to achieve? Where do you want to go?
Scoring a charity match for Celtic. I mean, that's it. No. I think I always say there's a kind of realistic way and an ambitious way for me. Like, you know, I want to get to the level where I can be a worldwide musician and travel the world playing music absolutely everywhere. And then, yeah, obviously I think everybody looks at the stadiums in Scotland and says, you know, you want to build to where you've started in your journey and go all the way up and play like a stadium gig in Scotland. I think for any Scottish musician, that's the dream there. I think it's just, you know, the case of just continue to write music and get better at it, keep doing shows, get better at it, keep using social media and the content, and just really be nice to people and get out there and work hard and keep developing. And I always say if you just do that, then the rest take care of itself. I'm not wanting to just sit here and go, I want #1 albums and #1 singles. That's just a byproduct of doing what you do well. Yeah. So I think for me the game is just be able to develop this for, you know, Scotland, England, into Europe, the world, and then, you know, keep playing the music festivals, the major ones, and then, you know, let's see the size of the venues increase.
Brilliant. Well, I mean, on behalf of, I'm sure, everybody, wish you all the very, very best with it, and I'm sure it's going to happen. You're going to get set up now to play us out with Start a Revolution.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming in to Celtic Park today for a chat, and thank you very much for watching or listening to this episode of the official Celtic FC podcast with PG Ciarletta, who is now going to play us out with Start a Revolution.
Thank you.
I know our time will come, so stand your ground, don't run. And when the moment comes again, what will you choose? And we've been battered and bruised, but we know how it feels to lose. And when the moment comes again, what will you choose? What will you choose? We'll be moving on. Let's go, start a revolution. Dark days and heartache is leaving us now. It's leaving us now. We found a new solution. Hot days and dancing on a weekend. Go tell your sister and your best friend now. Your best friend now. Start a revolution. No more Scottish sun, and the thunder will have fun. And when the generation's gone, don't get it wrong like we got it wrong. And we've been battered and bruised, oh, we know how it feels to lose. And when the moment comes again, what will you choose? What will you choose? We'll be moving on. Let's go, start a revolution. Dark days and heartache just leaving us now. It's leaving us now. Found a solution. Parties and dancing on a weekend. Go tell your sister and your best friend now. Your best friend now. Start a revolution. I'll be moving on. You'll be Nick is leaving us now.